I'm a selfish butthole.
If you're hearing our voices, it means it's time for It's This Meets That, the podcast where we watch the worst movies from trailer and credits, scene by scene, so you don't have to, but maybe you should. I'm Russ.
I'm Jared.
You are a selfish butthole. No, you're not.
Hey, this isn't about us.
That's right. That's right. These aren't about us. These aren't about us. It's about the movie. The movie. Okay, we're back. We're back with a full breakdown for Your Place or Mine.
Oh,
hey, all right. 2023. Ashton Kutcher, Reese Witherspoon movie.
Yep, good on paper.
Yeah, yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher generally enjoyable.
yeah. I don't have any issues with them at all. So, but here we are. We find ourselves. So, do you want to give a quick recap what this movie is about?
Yeah. So, in case you didn't watch Trailer Trash, watch Trailer Trash. I mean, you can watch the nothing on YouTube, but
yeah, it's more enjoyable listening to us.
Listen, also,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
The premise here: two long-distance best friends change each other's lives when she decides to pursue a lifelong dream, and he volunteers to keep an eye on her teenage son.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a better read through once I know what to expect.
Yeah, a little bit. How did we do with our prognostications?
Not great.
Great. Yeah. I don't actually quite remember what we said as per usual.
The usual. Yeah, I think you were driving that one.
Serial killer. I think I was going a serial killer route because Ashton Kutcher had the shoebox of all the photos of the family and everything.
Exactly.
And then it turns into it's all connected. And then this is part of the Ashton Kutcher, the trilogy of him just being a serial killer who's changing his identity from movie to movie.
Yeah, the Kutcherverse. Yeah.
The Kutcherverse. Yes. Yeah, okay. Damn it.
So it's not that.
Damn it, missed the mark.
Yeah, but we were both right that it was horrible.
Yes, that is correct. This is going to fall into the category of celery movie, I think. This is just it's so paint by the numbers. There's nothing special about it. It hits all the things.
Unwatchable.
We even have the airport. We even have the ending in the airport.
Yep.
Rom-com thing. It's so cliche. Pick a different location. Hell, go to the train station. I don't know, anywhere else, but
don't do that.
We had that actually in Valentine's Day. Skip that. Just
I hated this movie more than I thought I was going to. Like, I would rather watch worse movies, because you're right. This is celery, and I hate celery.
Yeah,
and
that's just something we know here. Yeah,
I just was sitting there the whole time with Thais going like,
yeah.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, there was no calm in the rom-com really either. I mean, there was like a couple and again, this is benchmark. There's a couple moments of like, and it's mostly all the secondary characters. Like the secondary again, secondary characters are always good, right? In these movies, Tig Notaro, Steve Zahn, they're all. Yep.
They tried.
Zoë Chao, she played Minka. She was pretty great in some moments, but they can only do so much. So
they tried.
Okay. Do you want some quick info?
Yeah, please. More than anything.
So this is written and directed. We have one sole person to blame for this.
Good.
Makes it easier.
I prefer that.
Was that Aline Brosh McKenna?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep. So this was her feature film directorial debut.
Oh.
Yes. So as a director, she's did a couple episodes of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and then that's it. Okay. This is her first movie. But as a writer, though, because we saw in the trailer trash, she did 27 Dresses, Devil Wears Prada, which were those were pretty well good movies.
Yeah, watchable.
You know what I mean, for the crowd it's aiming for.
Let's just say watchable.
Watchable. Yeah. We bought a zoo.
Oh.
That's where the Matt Damon one
fell off. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's 7 out of 10 on IMDb. And then she did a bunch of episodes for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I don't know if all 62. She's basically she created the series and wrote it. So, and I guess a lot of the secondary actors in this movie were from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So,
okay,
yeah, and she wrote Cruella. So, writer's got some hits, but
some creds.
Yeah, some creds.
Well, I hate you. Aline Brosh McKenna. I'm sorry.
There you go. So who's in this? We got Reese Witherspoon. She plays Debbie. We got Ashton Kutcher plays Peter. Zoë Chao plays Minka, the best friend. Well, the ex-girlfriend of Ashton Kutcher's character becomes Debbie's kind of BFF in New York.
Yep.
Jesse Williams plays Theo Martin. He's like he was an editor. Yeah, he was an editor for some
Duncan Press.
Duncan Press. That's right.
He's the most famous literary man in America.
That's right.
Apparently, which means very little.
Jesse Williams, if you don't recognize him, I do from Only Murders in the Building, but he was in Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, he's in lots of stuff.
Yeah,
and Fires Everywhere was pretty good.
Yep, it's so funny. He's done a couple of video games. He did a voice in NBA 2K21. But then I realized he was in this game called Detroit Become Human, which was a great game, and he plays one of the main characters. And I was like, oh yeah, that was him, because they did like a map, like it looked like him. I was like, that's right.
I never got around to playing that. It was on my list.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's fun. He was in the Cabin in the Woods. Yeah. So Dirty Dancing 3, Capoeira Nights.
Oh yeah. Oh, Thais knows him, I think, from Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. You.
And of course, where everyone starts, Law and Order, one episode. That's
good. Back to his roots. I'm glad.
Yeah. So that's Jesse Williams. He plays the love interest as well of Debbie's character there, or Reese Witherspoon's character.
That guy's usually good. He was not good in this. I mean, he was like fine, but not.
Yeah, he was funny. Everyone was just kind of celery. No one was offensive or bad. No one was good. It just was cardboard. Just
read their lines.
Yeah, read their lines. Moving on.
Yep.
Wesley Kimmel plays Jack, who is Debbie's 13-year-old son. That is Jimmy Kimmel's nephew, if you were curious, by the way.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Nepotism, right? That's how we got into this, right?
Uh-huh. That's right. I'm also Jimmy Kimmel's uncle. I'm Jimmy Kimmel's uncle.
I am Jimmy Kimmel's uncle. Tig Notaro, who I think is a friend of the pod now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big time.
For sure.
Big fan. She plays Alicia.
Nice.
Steve Zahn plays Zen, the weird neighbor garden guy. And then Julia Westcott Hutton plays a drunken party reveler.
Huh. No kidding.
Yeah.
I was wondering what her role was.
Well, that was it. She was drunken party reveler. She did a good job. She did a good job of that.
Yeah.
I can't get any numbers. I couldn't get any numbers because it's Netflix. I couldn't find any budget numbers. There wasn't a lot of information in this movie on the internet. So, but there is one thing I do have for fast facts that you might be able to do a little calculation with. So we'll see. Okay. You might be able to do a little fanatic calculation.
Well, the old abacus.
The old fanaticator. Fanabacus. That's it.
Listeners, you can't see it, but like I have got like basically a wall of like little beads behind me that I use for tabulating stuff. It's a whole thing.
It's tens and hundreds mostly, and thousands. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's intensive, labor intensive. Rotten Tomatoes, this is 30%, right on our line for audience, and then 35% for 30% critic, 35% audience.
Remarkably consistent.
Yeah. So everyone was equally disappointed with this one. Usually those numbers are kind of like, skewed a bit. It's usually the audience a little more forgiving, but
not this time.
No, not this time. And it shows.
Which is funny because I brought it up at work and some of my coworkers were like, "Oh yeah, I liked it. Like classic rom-com, like you said, paid by numbers."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, you were in the minority."
Yes.
Nobody else liked it, so go fuck yourself.
You're wrong, and now fired.
That's right.
Do you want some fast facts too? Do you want some?
Back me, daddy.
There it is. Okay, so here you can start doing some math. Get your abacus out, your wall abacus, your fanaticus out.
All right. Yeah.
Between its release on February 10th and in June 2023, the film totaled 163 million hours watched, equal to 88.1 million views.
Okay. So what do you want me to math here?
I mean, I guess would that be like 88.1 million views? I guess you could do that times what ticket price?
Movie? Yeah. Good call.
Right? Average ticket price going in the US, which would probably be like $13 maybe, $14.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we are these days.
That's a
right?
No.
That can't be right. That's too much. That's way too much.
That can't be right.
No, that's like
way too much.
Yeah.
Did I throw an extra zero on there?
But the problem is 88.1 million views. That's like, I mean, you couldn't do that because you could, that's
a $1 billion movie.
Yeah, crushing it, right?
Yeah,
that's not.
No.
That's all. No. No.
People saw the Cooch. They saw Reese Witherspoon. They were like, well, must be good.
Yeah, this is an Avengers level movie.
Yep. Yep. The next Avatar.
Yeah.
Your place or mine.
I did some production company homework here too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there's a couple, but the two in particular. Aggregate Films is a production company founded by Jason Bateman. Big fan of Jason Bateman. And that
who always reminds me of Jason Bateman?
Who's that?
Steve Zahn. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I could kind of see that.
They've got kind of a
similar humor. Steve Zahn's a little more space cadetty humor, whereas Jason Bateman's got a little more of like a sarcastic kind of
straight guy kind of
tone. But his company, Aggregate Films, currently has a first look deal with Netflix to generate film and TV projects. So, there you go.
Well, you should have looked twice.
Yep. You should have overlooked this one. Playing on words. The other one, Hello Sunshine, is a media company founded by Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, okay. That explains something.
Their whole focus is putting women at the center of every story and empowering women by giving them authorship, inspiring agency, and creating a platform to help share culture in the world around them. So that's
that sounds cool.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And you have Aline.
What happened here?
Well, you have Aline Brosh. She wrote and directed, so she's the center of this, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
The story wasn't really?
Not really. No.
It was kind of a 50-50. Maybe more good.
Right? Yeah. I kind of was thinking the same because she still ends up staying in LA. I don't know.
Anyway, interesting.
I wasn't going to go back and verify this, obviously, because I'm not rewatching the entire movie. But Alicia, Tig Notaro's character, is holding a coffee in every scene she's in. And now I think back to it, I was like, I think she was.
I think that checks out. And I think it's part of the joke at the end when she's like, I've had like 10 cups of coffee.
Yes,
I think she's talking about the rest of the movie.
Yes, I think so too. There's a scene where they go to an LA Kings game, and in that game, the LA Kings are playing the Calgary Flames. That's it.
Oh, that's the end.
Yeah, that's it. The end. I couldn't even tell you who won. 2023. It's probably the Kings. So,
yeah, probably.
Wow. Yeah, the fast facts are a little thin this time around. Oh, it only gets better.
Canadians.
We're gonna do some music here. So songs by the Cars, the band, are played between scenes throughout the movie. Yep. Debbie's personalized ringtone for Peter is Magic by the Cars. And Peter even has a whole thing about tying the Cars to his dead father, right? Because he doesn't want to listen to it. Yeah.
A major plot point. Yeah.
Yes. Major point of exposition.
Yeah. If you can call anything in this movie a major plot point, the Cars are one of them.
That's it. The song that plays in the background when Debbie and Peter hook up in 2003, The Sweet Escape by Gwen Stefani, featuring Akon. Who's that?
Akon, that's right.
Okay. Didn't come out until December
in 2006.
Well, exactly. Didn't come out until December 1st, 2006.
That makes sense.
Can't be playing songs that are in the wrong time period, you know?
Yeah. Gwen Stefani's really fallen off.
Yeah.
He's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
If you want to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Gwen Stefani, hit us up.
Hit us up. Talk about your no doubt days, which were no doubt the better days.
You're full of them today, huh?
Yeah, I'm crushing the English language today. I haven't mispronounced anything yet.
The Dinglish language, that's right.
The old Dinglish language. Okay, cool. So that's that. You have any other facts, bony facts? No. Okay.
Slow facts.
Let's not make this episode celery, okay? All right?
Okay.
Okay? We don't.
No, this would be one of our best.
Just because the movie's celery doesn't mean we're the peanut butter that goes on the celery that makes it better.
I don't want that.
Oh, you can't have that. We are the cream cheese. What do you put on celery? Yeah, celery's the worst.
I put it in soup.
I throw it out. I give it the middle finger at the grocery store.
Yeah, chop it as finely as possible and then mash it with carrots and onions. And so I can pretend it's not there.
It's there just for like a little, that's it.
That's right.
At this point, it's there just because you kind of have to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
French. Okay. Do you want to Hollywood pitch me, motherfucker?
Yeah, I sure do. So
this will be fun.
This movie's obviously Mrs. Doubtfire meets Stranger Than Fiction, right?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yep, I'm with you.
I didn't go too creative on this one. So Mrs. Doubtfire, so many parallels, right?
So many. Yep.
I think the story would have been better if Peter ended up being the dad. We speculated about that a little bit in Trailer Trash.
Yep.
Peter is not the father, seemingly.
No.
But
yeah,
could be.
Could have. Yeah.
The timing.
Be. Yeah. We can make it work.
Yeah. But anyway, so in Mrs. Doubtfire, he is the father, the titular Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes. Yep.
The basic premise here is kind of the same, right? Irresponsible man, mom's like, I'm the responsible one, but actually hurting kids without realizing it.
Yep.
In this case, it's Reese Witherspoon overbearing, like not letting her son do anything.
Yep.
Being responsible for sure, but too responsible.
Too much. Settle down.
Both movies have somebody gets hurt. That's kind of like the climax turning point, right?
Yes. Which we
Mrs.
did.
Doubtfire doing an allergy thing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
With I forget what that guy's role was in the movie, but feeding that guy something he's allergic to.
Yep.
I think it was like pepper or something.
Yeah.
And that's like the big reveal that this is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yep.
And this one, it's the hockey scene.
Gets every time that hockey. Watch out.
Kid gets mangled. Maybe a hematoma.
We were close, by the way. That was another thing we guessed right too, because that one quick shot of him, I was like, oh, is he in a hospital? I was like, oh, maybe he screws up the kid's allergies or something like that, or whatever.
Yep. Would have made it more like Mrs. Doubtfire. So thank you.
Yep.
And that results in them getting almost taken away from the kids, or about to be taken away from the kids, right? So, Mrs. Doubtfire, she's like, all right, no custody for you.
Yeah, you screwed up. Yeah.
Yep. And in this one, she's like, get out of here. Go back to New York, you crazy city boy, even though she's in LA, which is also a city.
Yeah.
But in both movies, the power of love and the male role model-ish character actually doing kind of a good job and learning something along the way.
As one does.
Right? Wraps it all up nice and neatly.
It's beautiful with a bow right on top, right?
Yeah. It's basically the same movie.
Life lesson learned.
Mm-hmm. Now, Stranger Than Fiction, I went a little bit wishful thinking. So both movies have bits about the publishing industry, sure.
Yep.
Low-hanging fruit. Both of them are about a writer like writing maybe their masterpiece. In this case, The Cooch.
Yep.
Writes The Boy, which terrible title.
Jesus. Seriously.
Bad book title, but whatever. It's allegedly a good book. Stranger Than Fiction, that's kind of the whole premise. She's writing her like top novel here, where Will Ferrell is the main character.
Right.
Unbeknownst to him.
Yep.
Both of these are books about people dying and finding out what it means to truly live and yada, 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 right?
Yep.
Kind of the whole premise. Now, where the wishful thinking comes in, Stranger Than Fiction was funny.
Yes.
And this movie is not. That's the biggest one.
Okay.
It also felt like Stranger Than Fiction had consequences, and like there were when people did things, it meant something later in the story.
Right.
In this movie, nothing really matters.
It doesn't really matter. It's celery. It doesn't matter.
Right. Like they build up a whole thing about her doing this accounting class, and she's going to be an accountant because that's the responsible thing to do. Yeah. And then, like, predictably, she just goes a different route by the end anyway, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They just erase half the movie.
Pretty much. Yep.
I hate it. I hate it so much. But both movies do have like a happy ending with like a nice little family kind of thing. Like he gets the girl in Stranger Than Fiction, and they, discovers that the meaning of life is like, don't take yourself so seriously, yada, yada, yada. Basically just like this movie. So,
all right.
A lot over.
I'd take that. I take those. I take that.
Thanks.
This is Mrs. Doubtfire, James Bond's best villain.
That's right. What do you got?
I was kind of all over the place this morning with this. I was trying to make like Escape from LA or Escape from New York kind of work here, the Snake Plissken story that we all know and love. But I couldn't quite get that going. And I was also trying to find like a body switching movie, because like this movie's got a lot of you switching, into someone else's lives and kind of really digging in there and changing their lives for them. But I couldn't find the one I really wanted. So, but I kind of did find one. But so I'm going.
Parent Trap could have been good.
Yeah, I know. I saw that one in your favorite movie. So I'm going with Switch, which is a 1991 movie with Ellen Barkin, now a friend of the pod, and Jimmy Smits meets Big Daddy, the Adam Sandler flick. So this should be pretty obvious. I'll start with Switch.
The pod.
I'm going to start with Switch. Yes, best. Yeah, at this point, BFF of the pod. I'll start with Switch because that one's gonna be a little bit dicier. Please. Yeah. So that one, I'm sure you've not seen that movie, but
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So basically, it's about Jimmy Smits that plays like this advertising agency guy who's kind of promiscuous, self-centered asshole. Kind of. They kind of hint at Ashton Kutcher being that in this movie, right? Totally. Where now this is where it goes off the rails. The Switch. He basically gets murdered by 3 of his like ex-girlfriends. Perfect. The switch happens when he gets reincarnated as a woman, Ellen Barkin.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's all sorts 1991 fun, right?
Yeah.
So now there isn't necessarily like 2 people swapping and interacting with their each other's lives, but this one has, like our movie here, the female character I feel like does more to change the male character's life.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, because like in Switch, obviously it's him, but he's come back as Ellen Barkin, and she goes in, takes over his job, gets some promotion, gets him like this big account, and
does a good job.
And does a good job, right? And in this movie, kind of the same thing. She comes to New York, she finds his manuscript, she drops it off to the editor. She basically gets him this big book deal, which turns him from being this consulting business guy, rebrand marketing guy, into what he always wanted to be, a writer, which is a massive change, his dream, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Did they wrap it up in what she ended up doing? She became an editor, didn't she?
Yeah, she became an editor at some indie book publisher. It doesn't matter.
But it seemed like it was more focused on his turn. I don't know, right?
Yeah, definitely. He's the star of the movie for sure.
Yeah. In Switch, so in both movies have friends hooking up.
Okay.
So in Switch, this is gonna be fun. When Jimmy Smits' character comes back as Ellen Barkin, his best friend, when he was still alive, falls for him as the lady. And they end up getting drunk and hooking up at some point. So yeah,
gross.
Yeah, but they fall in love, and they have a kid, and kind of both end with a happy family, sort of. And Switch, she ends up, the mother, Ellen Barkin's character, dies because the whole point is her finding someone that she like would truly love, and the person she truly loves is her daughter. Yeah, it's a crazy movie. Yep, stupid. I know.
Okay,
so that's that one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a stretch, but I think I nailed that. Big Daddy, again, both movies have male role models for kids that aren't their own. Both movies have adoption. I think in this movie at the end they get married, so he's got to adopt Jack, right?
I think so. Yeah,
that's how that works. I think, right?
I mean, it's basically his son anyway. So
yeah, pretty much. Jimmy, the other guy, is just gone, right?
Jimmy's climbing.
Yeah, climbing on I don't know.
Mountain climbing?
Yeah, like what?
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's definitely a way to spend all your time.
Yeah, get out of here, guy. Ridiculous. Both have, well, I think you touched on this too, but both have, for Mrs. Doubtfire, both have, main male characters who are not good at raising kids. They're kind of shitty at it. But over the duration of the film, they manage to learn their lesson and bond with a kid and become good at actually hanging out with kids, which
nailed it.
That's what I think everyone wants in real life, but
Yep. Yeah. No, this movie has a lot in common with Big Daddy. You're right. I think that's a good pull.
Yeah. Well, thanks for confirming it too. I was wishy-washy on, and you're like, no, you should do that one. I was like, all right. So thank you.
Yeah.
And then same thing. Both have a male protagonist who's kind of unsure of their career direction.
Yeah.
Right. And at the start of the film, but by the end, they've got now a secure kind of dream job, because I think in Big Daddy he ends up becoming a lawyer or something, and
something like that.
Yeah. But he gets some, secure job so he can be an adult. So it's all about men becoming men because they're children. So
that's right. This story is centered on women.
Yes.
It's not.
It's not. It's not.
It should have been. That would have been more interesting, probably.
That would have been more interesting.
Make Reese Witherspoon's character grow and change. They don't really. They're just like, oh no, she's probably less neurotic now.
Yeah, which is like,
like
really?
What? That's the angle we're going with.
That's the change. Like
she cared too much. Like
she's gonna let her kid eat some maybe allergic stuff or play hockey now. Like that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. So I don't know. Should we get into this thing?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, we come out with a couple of things. We get Netflix, right? You have Sweet Escape. Was that one I missed?
Yeah, that was an earlier studio.
Okay, I have Aggregate. We have Hello Sunshine, Sweet Escape. It doesn't matter. And then the opening we cut, we're right there. LA, it's 2003. Now, I didn't really like what they were doing here, like for this bit of humor, but
yep.
So it's 2003, and then all of a sudden
it was not funny.
On the screen was like kind of goofy writing, like, oh, how can we tell? Because trucker hat, and like they're drawing arrows to all the things, and flat iron hair, and wallet chain, and
good connection I missed with Stranger Than Fiction. I feel like of that, breaking the fourth wall. Kind of
yeah.
Narrating what's going on.
Yeah, nailed it. Sometimes you just
In this movie, it's annoying.
Yes. Yep. And it's basically just Debbie and Peter hooking up, and Alicia, I think she's in the beginning there. I missed that was Tig Notaro, and like they were all friends. They all knew each other, so they leave and they're like, "Hey, thanks for having us over for poker night. Poker night's important to know for later on." But then we got more of the writing on the screen, breaking the fourth wall, and how can we tell? Because so many layered shirts. Reese Witherspoon's taken off for 3 or 4 shirts, and then pointless earring on Ashton Kutcher, and the Wonder Bra.
Like, are all earrings pointless? Like that's the point of earrings.
Yeah,
like, it's decoration.
Yeah, it's.
Oh no, most earrings have a point. after 2003.
Yeah, a purpose. He goes on, this is so annoying too. He goes on about how he's a writer. He wants to be a writer. He's written a bunch of short stories, and he says it over and over again. I was like, they lay it on so thick. It's like,
is this a movie about you?
What was I doing in 2003?
I don't know. Probably flirting with girls, talking about all the short stories you wanted to write.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Wait a second.
Wait a second. Is this me? So yeah, that's kind of setting that all up, and that's when I guess it's his story, because it's just him talking about being a writer, and guess what? He becomes a writer at the end. Yep. Title card 20 years later,
and the little camera trick here. They're both in bed together, or are they?
Or are they? They just have the same sheets in the same bed.
Yeah. How convenient. Happy birthday, much younger person.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of like start it's from the trailer basically of like their morning getting ready routine of apparently just talking to each other for an hour.
Yeah.
Seemingly. I know it's his birthday, so maybe it's separate, but like
but they do talk like every day. So
yeah, it seems like they do this a lot.
Yeah, but and this is just all the split screen stuff, which I didn't really like all that much. I don't think it worked. It was kind of distracting.
Yeah, I agree. But he's got a woman in his bed.
Yep.
Which is like the first joke.
I guess she's one of the actresses from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend too. I think her name is Rachel Bloom, maybe. I think. But yeah,
let's go with that.
Yeah. So yeah, they're just getting ready for work and doing the same thing on either side. And we cut to the MacBook chat, Zoom chat, or whatever they're on. And
they're doing the whole premise. The whole time they're talking about her big visit to New York.
Yes.
Because they're going to hang out for a week. They haven't hung out for a week in a while. Maybe they'll have a big sex party. You never know.
That's awkward. Yeah. Right.
Yep. And basically she's just like, I'm not cool about leaving Jack. She's like, I'm totally cool about leaving Jack, but I'm not actually that cool about it.
Yes.
Which is her son.
And then I guess what's important out of that is she has a gift for him for his birthday, and she's going to she shows him right off the bat the poker chip, which is important. That's a key thing that will come back later.
Yeah, from the night they met. Yeah,
and then we get a bunch of exposition here too about how he ditched her right after they hooked up, and yada yada yada. So
yeah. And this is the first time we get how much he hates mementos. He doesn't keep any memories behind. He hates all that stuff.
Yes.
Just lives a very sterile life in New York.
Meanwhile, after that happens, the lady he was hooking up with is pretty jealous and is like, what's going on here? And then they're heading to work together, and they get outside. They get an Uber to go to work because I guess that's what you're doing in New York. And
you're rich people. I guess,
she drops like, hey, what happens next with us? And he's like, blah, 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 blah. She's like, it's been 6 months, and he's like, okay, and she's like, I'm out, see you.
Yeah, she's like, I just want to know if this is a waste of time. We've been together for 6 months now. And he's like, define waste.
You just did.
You just did. Happy birthday. It's over, Peter.
Oof, that's rough on your birthday. Yikes.
Pretty brutal.
Like, at least wait till the next day. And we cut to LA. And meanwhile in LA, we had Debbie just taking Jack to school or something, right? And then we meet Steve Zahn.
A lot of exposition about his allergies.
A lot of, yep, so we understand that. And then Steve Zahn's there playing his character Zen. He's just a neighbor who's taking care of the garden. We learn more about him later. And then the credits start.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah. We learn about, and then we get the credits. And then we get the split screen again of them going back and forth, going through their daily routines. We got the classic.
I'm already bored.
Ashton Kutcher. We got the classic actor walking in New York on the sidewalk shot, him jamming out to the music car song that's probably playing. Yeah. And then we go back to LA school, and then this is her and Jack kind of doing a bunch of exposition about how she's technically not a teacher there, but she technically works at the school.
Right, which I was confused about.
Yeah.
Because they didn't say what she does do at the school.
She was just the accountant. That was it.
Is she like? Then why does she go to accounting school?
I don't know. I think it was like maybe an accelerated program for become, I don't know, master at accounting. I don't know, master of numbers.
Accelerate program?
Accelerate? Yeah, more like an accelerate program where she becomes the master of numbers. You know,
that big abacus behind me. She probably
right. If she had that, she would use that. She would have to go to school.
Got it.
That's all. And then we meet Tig Notaro's character again, kind of, sort of more so, Alicia, and they walk and talk.
A couple funny lines, like she talks about how her kids are always hungry because she doesn't feed them. That was like the first time I was like, because I think there were maybe 2 times when I laughed in this movie.
Yeah, like
this was almost one.
I think the other ones were only when Zoë Chao there, Minka did something.
Yep.
But then we get exposition about her career, Debbie's career here, and then we get a whole thing. Jimmy. Yeah, and then a whole thing about Jack and his medical issues and all of his allergies and stuff. And I was like, is Big Pharma the villain again? And like,
I mean,
always is.
But they also always win, as we know.
As they win, as
Shout
they
out
do.
To Big Pharma.
Right.
You want to be on the podcast?
Yes. Thank you. If you want to be on the podcast. So then we're in the school office.
They do the bit from the trailer.
Yeah. Getting waxed. It's nothing new here. Just
meet a hottie.
We get some exposition about Jimmy and how he doesn't exist and he's not going to be around to watch the kid because he's off dating people, climbing somewhere. I don't know.
Stupid.
It's all dumb. And we're at the LA home.
Yep.
And we are. We got so right now, I guess. So this woman Scarlett, she's like the actress. She was going to come in and watch Jack while Debbie was away. Yeah, Scarlett is the ex-husband's like girlfriend or something like that. I think there's that connection.
Oh,
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah. Wait, did we say someone else was Rachel Bloom earlier? Because Scarlett's Rachel Bloom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I said the woman that he was hooking up with before.
Got it.
It's not. It's Vella.
I was like,
it's
I know
Vella
her from stuff.
Yeah, Rachel Bloom is in. She's also in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, as is the woman that played the lead that he was hooking up in the beginning, Vella Lovell. Yeah, she's also in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. There's like 3 or 4 people there. So
perfect.
Yeah. Anyways, where were we? So Scarlett's she's an actress trying to be an aspiring actress, and she's doing a scene for Jack.
Yep. They're doing a play where she gets strangled.
Yeah, by the main character. So
very cool.
Yep. And then Debbie comes in.
More instructions on what to do with Jack, right?
More exposition about her career moves and choices. And Scarlett does all the joke from the trailer, like, oh, it's tragic. Single mom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She does the whole, like, why are you doing accounting, not books? You love books. Go do books career.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Okay. That's not career first. Like,
come on.
What's books?
Yeah.
But anyway, then we switch to Peter, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're back with Peter, and he's got a consulting gig, I guess, with some company where he does like marketing, rebranding, stuff that Jared does in his regular free time.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I'm a regular
guy,
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
I'm the Ashton Kutcher of this podcast. In case you didn't know.
But then these two guys are like, hey, we want to give you a job here, CMO, whatever. And he's like, no. And there was kind of like a semi-funny back and forth between them. But
yeah.
Like, and one guy was just like, hey, you know what? You can delete my number. And he's like, I don't have it. And he's like, well, why don't you put it in your phone and delete it? Okay. Yeah. And they're like, well, we hope whatever we hope you find whatever you're looking for. And that's when he
which is what Tig's character said to Debbie
yes.
or just a few minutes ago also. I hope you find what you're looking for. That's the key thing running here.
Yep. Yeah. And then it's funny because later in the movie, similar to that moment happening, later in the movie we have secondary characters telling our main characters like how they need to change and find what they're it's
very dumb.
No, it's just very paint by numbers, very obvious. It's hey, which is fun. Okay, so then we're back at his New York apartment. He's got a sad, lonely birthday. He's got just hanging out with a fruitcake bag or whatever those call those things. What are those things?
Gift basket.
Gift basket. Thank you.
Fruitcake bag.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, more or less a fruitcake bag.
And then
that's the apartment all alone.
And then we're
back to Debbie and Jack.
Yeah. Talking over dinner. And basically this whole scene is just about, to sum it up quickly, is Scarlett shows up and she's like, hey, I got this gig. I got the gig. I'm going to, they want me to go to Vancouver and tonight. And she's like, oh, I'm an idiot. I won't be able to watch Jack now. What do you want to do?
Selfish butthole.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, text Peter. And she's like, I can't come to New York. And she's all bummed. And Jack is like, oh, you seem bummed. She's like, it's okay. This is what happens when you're an adult. And being bummed.
Yep. A lot of the time, actually.
A lot of the
time. And Jack's like, oh, something to look forward to.
Yeah, great.
But that's when Peter calls her. And she's not going to answer because she's like, I don't need money. He's always trying to lend me money. And so when Jack picks up the phone, Peter's like, I'm not trying to lend her money. Tell her that.
Yeah, let her know.
They can read each other's sandwiches.
Sandwiches, right.
Yeah. And he's got time off between clients. He's like, you know what? I'm going to come to LA. You come stay at my place in New York, setting up the whole premise of the movie here. And we get a bunch more exposition about his allergies and how Jack takes a lot of medicine and he's difficult to raise and yada, yada, yada. Peter apologizes for not being around when Jack was born, but and yet she flew across the country when his mom died and took care of him. And she's a good friend. He stinks. That's the summary.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so he's trying to repay her. He's like, you need help. I'm coming. That's that.
Boom. That's what friends do for each other, or are supposed to do, right?
Yep.
And then we're outside
next morning.
Yeah, next morning, LA. We're in LA. We got more Steve Zahn, Zen Zahn here, just being kind of goofy him. And Debbie drops Jack off at school and
packs her bag, goes out. Yeah,
travels. Not sure if anything important here happens.
No, she's crush about leaving Jack. It's obvious, but it doesn't matter.
We get a little airport transition.
Yeah, which is Peter arriving. Getting into town.
Yep, he's getting into town. And he's got a little Porsche.
Yeah. Little douche Porsche.
And then we're back.
White cars.
What's that?
I hate white cars.
Yeah, I do too. It's it's clearly a sign of a rental.
Yeah.
Because no one wants a white car, so the rental companies take them, and then that's what you're renting. So it's kind of a clear sign you get a rental. Yeah.
Listeners, do you like white cars?
It's probably a Porsche. It's a white car with a Florida plate. You're like, that's a rental.
Yep. Every time.
Okay, so then we're at the school, and Peter pulls up in the Porsche, the white Porsche rental, and he knows Tig's character. He's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever.
Yep. She gives him a cup of coffee.
Yep.
The coffee counter begins.
Ding.
Again.
Yeah.
Because she had one earlier too.
She did have one. And then Tig goes on about how kids suck. She's not wrong, because we've said many times.
All muss, all fuss.
Yep. And then, Peter's trying to connect with Jack. He's got he's trying to run through these nicknames for him. And it's not landing. Jack's not having it.
It's my least favorite running joke in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Because they're never funny. Yeah. I don't think any of them are funny.
No. I mean, it's kind of showing that Peter's a little disconnected from hanging with the kids, right? But
the Utes. Yeah.
The Utes.
He's like, let's blow this popsicle stand. The kid's like, what's a popsicle stand?
Like,
and he's like,
hey, I don't even know.
I don't know.
It's a stand we get popsicles. Oh, kid, lighten up, would you, kid? Stop being so allergic to life, huh?
Yeah.
Bubble Boy. We could have done Bubble Boy.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good.
Because the kid finally gets out of his bubble there towards the end.
Yeah. And then the only key part there is they get in the Porsche, and Peter makes a big show about like, oh, like, next time, I guess I'll bring the Lotus. Like, come on, get in the Porsche, buddy. The super cool car. Like, isn't that fun that we're going to drive home?
But you wanted the Lamborghini, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Press those other kids, and they don't care. The kids don't care at all.
No, it's LA. It's LA. Yeah. All right, and we're going to drive. We're car driving. Driving in a car. LA. Car drive.
Cars do that.
Car drive. Horse.
Traffic, am I right?
Traffic, am I right? LA. And then Peter tries to connect with Jack about a bunch of backstory about, hey, I was 13 years old once, kids ditching him.
Boys bullying you.
Yeah, and then we get into how Peter's dad died on the road or something. It's a very
it's a stupid
over the top, like
he says that. He's like, I didn't really have a dad. He left me when he was 13 and then died drunk in a ditch 3 years later. And you're like, oh no, was he like a drunk driver? And you're like, oh no, he was walking next to the road and fell over in a ditch. Oh, okay. Well,
alrighty. And then we learn about how Jack, who used to play hockey, but then he stopped when he hockey. Yeah, and once he stopped playing and being active in sports, that his buddy that he was really close to, his friend, to kind of like just moved on. Yep. It's like, all right, man.
Yep. And he's not allowed to play hockey because mom says it's too dangerous. And Peter's like, wow, I can't believe Debbie didn't tell me about that.
And then this is the beginning of like a running theme of like all these things that they actually didn't tell each other. There is more to know about each other. And that's going to keep popping up throughout the movie. So,
do you tell her everything?
And he's like, yeah. He's like, nope, you don't. All right, so we're in LA. We're still in LA. We're at the LA house there. More Steve Zahn. We learn about he's just independently wealthy because he thanks to a tech buyout. I mean, am I right?
Yeah. We all wish.
Surfs in the morning and tends to Debbie's garden in the evening for the rest of the day. That's it. So
he's got a garden guy for his yard.
Yes, right. And he's the garden guy for hers.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
And then we learn
but another thing that Debbie didn't tell him.
That's right.
It's like, oh, who's this garden guy?
And we're going to learn more about garden guy that she didn't tell him about. So watch out. Zen den, if you will.
That's right.
And then we pretty much just learned that Debbie's super OCD. She got Post-it notes everywhere telling him what to do. Very, controlling environment. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. And then we get more split screen stuff. She calls. She's in New York City. And she's going through all the notes, blah, blah. And Peter's kind of like, all right. Can you just settle down? Can you just shut up, take a look around, and enjoy where you are? Yep. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, life.
They do a bit about dinner. He's like, I gotta figure out dinner. She's like, oh, it's in the freezer. Jack loves his casseroles, and he's sitting there like, I don't like casseroles.
I don't like casseroles. No one should.
Basically, then Peter's like, you allergic to Mexican food, and throws casserole in the trash. Which listeners, we are staunchly against food waste on this podcast.
Yeah, unless it's celery, but I mean, just don't buy it so you can't waste it.
Exactly. Never throw out a casserole.
No one really wants a casserole, but don't throw it out.
You got to eat it.
So,
yeah. Meanwhile, in New York,
back in New York. So then Debbie's just being like over the top, awkward, touristy kind of thing. She's dragging her bag around. Blah, blah, blah. She goes to Peter's place, and
they do a bit, which they do like 4 times. The only reason I'm mentioning it about her suitcase wheels. The doorman's like, they got suitcases with wheels that go all the ways now. They call them spinners.
Yeah.
But not helpful.
Yeah. That comes back later as a payoff when Minka gets her a new suitcase.
Right.
At the end, which pays off for nothing at all. But
so
we get into Peter's
place.
What
are you talking about?
What's that?
What are you talking about? Payoff?
Benchmark here, but it is like it's the setup of the joke, and at the very end she's like, oh, I got you this. It's stupid. I'm not saying it's good. It doesn't say payoff for anything other than, oh, remember when they made fun of her because she had a stupid suitcase in the beginning? Yeah. I'm not defending this movie, so I'm actually shitting on it more. All right, so then we're in Peter's place, and his apartment basically looks like, which is funny, I wrote this note down. I was like, oh, it looks like the Airbnb you want but you can't afford. And later on they make that joke, which, God damn it. And she's like, go walking around his apartment. Like, oh, he organizes his books by color. Like, guess who else does? This guy.
Right, I know. Here. So I was like, I think this movie's about you, dude.
I think it might be. Oh, no. And my apartment's not that sterile. I have plants.
Yep. I wrote this down too. He has his books organized by color, just like Russ.
No. But Peter's place is basically like an IKEA showroom that he hasn't unpacked yet. Like all the glasses still have like price tags on them.
Yep. The silverware's in the package.
I use my silverware and my glasses don't have price tags on them. So
that's right.
Yes. I'm adulting more.
You're not exactly the same.
Yes.
Totally different.
Totally different. And then we're back in LA and Peter like wants to hang, but Jack's like, hey, I gotta do homework. And like,
yeah, he's been trained well.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're occasioning together. This is another like thing that they try to make a running joke that's stupid. Yeah. Jack's like, that's not a word. And he's like, you just make up words. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Marketing. You just make up stuff. It is true. That is correct. You just make up stuff and let it rip.
Yeah.
It's not about whether it's right or wrong. It's about how well you can convince the other person, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. Like, we're not supposed to watch TV while we eat or do before we do homework. And he's like,
that's chaos.
Bud,
come on.
Grow up.
Yeah. Uncle Peter's in town, aka soon to be your dad, stepdad Peter. So
that's right. Funkle Peter.
I'm leveling up from uncle to stepdad real soon. So
yep. And they're gonna watch Alien because it's terrifying.
Yep. But then there's like all this other stuff from the trailer about Jack kind of lets it all out that Debbie's mentioned that he, Peter isn't good at with women, all this sort of stuff, irresponsible. Yep. And then they watch Alien, which is a great thing to do. So
yeah, a good movie, unlike this one.
And then we're in New York City again.
Yep.
Back at the house. Debbie starts playing with the messing with his iPad there with all the apps to control the house. Yep. This comes
She's
back
cold,
again as
the heat on.
A running joke later on.
Yeah.
And also sets up the whole camera thing, but just showing she doesn't know how to use it. So yeah, cranks up the music. It's all stuff from the trailer. Minka shows up. She's like not wearing much. Same.
You're nothing the Debbie, right?
And then a bunch of exposition about how Peter's kind of like a ladies' man. Oh, he only dates for 6 months, and so.
Yeah, she's like, I was gonna pounce on him when he broke up with Becca this morning, which I heard about immediately.
Yes.
But then she's like, why don't we be friends? Like, I'll buy you a drink. And she's like, I got to get up early for classes, but they're going to go to the Brownstone Club. And then like does like a nice little backhanded compliment. Like, I really dig that sexy Gen X Earth Mom thing you have going on. And she's like, thank you.
Okay. And I think I think at this point we go back to like the LA, New York split screen phone chat thing, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. And he's like bringing up Zen. He's like, what about they talking? And he's like, what about Zen? You didn't tell me about Zen. And then
he's good at gardening.
He's like, oh, Jack's doing his homework, but he's actually watching Alien still. And just more blah, blah talking. Nothing really of interest in here other than she brings up Minka. And
she picks on him for this house being empty.
Yeah.
And he's like, they really beat you over the head with this. He's like, I told you, I don't like mementos. I don't have mementos. Like, no memories in my place.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if that's going to come back later.
Don't care.
Yeah. It's a setup, Jared, for the payoff at the end. Come on, man.
Yeah. Totally pays off.
Not.
So then they're like, all right, well, it's getting late. Let's go to sleep. See you later on the interwebs, which I was like,
okay.
Why are you like this?
Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're New York, LA, kind of a home.
We're back in LA.
Well, they do this is where they do like a night montage, wrapping up our evening montage, isn't it?
Right before that, they do like I guess this is kind of part of the montage because Peter's like, Jack's like, oh, that was dope. My mom never would have let me watch that. Alien's the best movie ever.
Yeah, it starts like right after that.
Yeah, exactly. And then then he finds a note from Debbie that's like, by the way, thanks for doing this. And meanwhile, Debbie finds a note from him that he left in the fridge. That I was like,
here's some booze. Celebrate when you finish your class.
Why? Yeah, so dumb.
And then a split screen of them like going to bed in each other's places, and they both read books doing the same thing. Oh, they're the same.
Yeah, I almost did a kissing booth for this one because of so many montages. This movie has like 1,000 quick montages.
Yes, there are a lot of short ones, usually to cars.
Yep, exactly. And this, I think, is maybe the first one, right? Like of the many to come.
Yes, this is where it begins. So we have a montage counter and a coffee counter. So
yep.
I were in LA the next day, and Peter's going through the allergy list, and I was like, he's gonna mess this up at some point. But that's not actually what gets the kid. He actually does okay. We get more Steve Zahn. Zahn's the Zen crotch in the window, and Peter's like, "Oh, come on, man!" And then he's talking with I was gonna call him Jack. And he's like, "Did you make lunch?" And he's like, "I'm working on it." He's like, "No breakfast?"
Yeah.
So Peter's
he got halfway there.
He's struggling. He's struggling a little bit here to get things down, you know.
Yep. So they go out to breakfast instead, and this is from the trailer.
It's all from the trailer.
Jack wants coffee. Peter's like, "No coffee. You're just a boy."
Just a boy.
And then does a whole spiel about marketing and how, your role is to tell other people your stories about yourself that are better than you actually are. Like, you got to sell yourself.
Then the ones you tell yourself, because this comes back later too. Someone mentions this, like, you've been telling yourself the wrong story about yourself, to Debbie. So
it's paint by numbers, like you said. Like everything is a setup for a payoff.
It's like a dollar and change payoff. It's not like a.
Yeah, you're not retiring on it.
No.
You're maybe buying a cup of coffee for Tig Notaro. I don't know.
That's about it. All 10.
About it. And so, it's another, like, he just makes up words, and he's like, you got to approach your life like a global realignment. Like, that's what I do for my clients. And it's the whole thing. So it's stupid. But he's like, let's go. I'm going to make it up to you. Let's go to the Kings game after school. And like, you can invite anyone.
Where are those seats, buddy? They aren't seats. It's a suite.
Yeah, it's the box, baby.
Let's go, right? And then the questions joke, asking questions about questions. And we're cut to we're in LA.
It's a little school cut when he's like, Peter drops him off, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, can't wait for that Kings game tonight in the box where you can invite anyone, all your friends if you want to, but it's going to be awesome."
Yep.
Because the other boys are there, and it's stupid. And Tig Notaro's like, "Oh, you're good at miming. Let's get more coffee."
More coffee. And then we get like a New York walking transition shot, and Debbie's heading to her first class.
She's overeager as usual.
Yep, overeager. And the woman sitting next to her, that's Brittany Young, who also was, I think, in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but she was also in Glow on Netflix, which was a good show.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've seen it, but
nope.
Yeah, so she's like, the class is all online, but you
don't have to take notes. Like, all the notes are already there. And then,
not much else happens out here other than class starts, class ends, and then she leaves, and then Minka calls her and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna pick you up. We're gonna get drinks. I'm right here. Let's go."
Yeah, exactly. The class is super boring. That's the whole thing. She does, though, when Minka calls her to pick her up.
Yep.
She walks by this cool literature class.
Yes.
With this cool teacher, and he's like, trying to do like a classic cool teacher joke. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, cool bit about writers that, unless you're really in the know. Yeah, it's like, come on. All right.
Yeah. And thankfully, Minka shows up to save the day, and it's like, "Miss Backpack, you ready to go?" Personally, I'm allergic to school. After I got that master's in differential calculus, like, what's the point, right? And you're like, wait, what?
And the key thing here is, again, the professor, the cool literature professor who's making jokes for dorks. He is friends with Theo Martin, and that kicks off how she recognized. Oh, I recognize that guy, and then that's how they all connect. And
Yep.
She'll have an in later on. And we're at the Kings game,
and basically Jack's like, "Oh man, like I love those jelly beans that you other boys are eating. Like, let's be friends again. Those are my favorite jelly beans," and they just ignore him completely. It's pretty brutal.
Kids are the worst. Like, they're just straight up ignoring him. Like, man. I hope I wasn't that much of an asshole when I was a kid. I probably was. I
was a fat kid, so I had to be nice to everyone.
I was probably a jerk. I was like, I'm eating Skittles. Leave me alone. Everyone likes the red ones. Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't news.
But he complains to Peter. He's like, "Why aren't they talking to me?" And Peter's like, "Don't worry, they will. Stick with it, boy."
Yeah, boy. Stick with it.
Boy.
Okay. And we cut back to New York City, and we got the fancy bar here, the Brownstone, and Minka takes Debbie out to fancy drinks. And
you got to be someone or know someone, and I'm both. and sometimes neither.
Neither.
Which nice.
Okay. Yeah.
You're right. Minka has like a couple of almost good lines.
Yeah. They're like right there. So yeah, they go into.
We don't have to talk
restaurant.
about Peter.
Don't have to talk about him. Yes. We cut back to the
game.
Yeah, cut back to this happens a lot too. This obviously this jumping back and forth thing. So we cut back to the Kings game. And Peter's being awkward and trying to get everyone. I don't know what he's trying to do.
You see that play? So sketch.
Like, okay. All right.
And the kids are like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? You just sit down and watch the game. Like, don't try to connect with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back at the fancy bar and having fancy drinks. Exposition about
to drink it or water it.
Yeah. Just got all these celery in there. There's a bunch of celery in there.
Yep,
Get out
of
here.
And like pineapple. I don't know.
Yeah, like who's making
it's a weird
this?
mix.
It's a very LA drink.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of backstory about her and Peter, then talking about Jimmy, her husband, who wanted to go on climbing adventures, and then how she's basically more grounded and boring and needed to do the right thing. And her stuff in the trailer, her love life is like a ghost town, like a tumbleweed. And then that's when she looks over and she recognizes the professor, the cool literature professor.
And who's that Fuego guy that he's sitting with?
Well, the guy.
She knows.
Yeah, that's Theo Martin. He's the guy. He's the editor. Famous editor.
Publisher. Yeah. Duncan Press.
Yeah, Duncan Press. And they released the contemporary fiction. The Stranger Than Fiction. So. Mm-hmm. So Minka's like, heck, we're going to go over there. This is all stuff in the trailer. They go over, they awkwardly meet, and she's like literally like a total dork with him. And he's like, I've read every single one of your books that your publishers put out. And he's like, that's impossible.
Ridiculous.
Yes. He's like, that's actually impossible. And she's like, nope, I've done it. And then she starts listing off all the books, like, they kind of play a little trivia. Yeah, a little trivia game.
He's like, wait, even the Dust Bowl book? That was you, the one copy that we sold? She's like, yep, I loved it.
Jeez.
Okay. That sounds boring.
And then we just cut to outside the bar. This is stuff in the trailer. And Theo's like, hey, can I get your number? And Debbie freezes. Trailer trash. So in the trailer, Minka goes up to her and takes her phone and sticks up to her face. It was for the facial recognition to open it up. That's what it was.
Nailed it.
Yeah. That's stupid.
Yeah. We're in the future now, not 2003.
And then he puts his number in. And there we go. Right?
Yep. And she's like, I think that guy's into you. And he's like, no way. That's not what that is. And she's like, no, that's exactly what into you looks like. Like, you got to believe me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see how that goes, won't we?
We will. Because you know what I'm into?
Cliffhangers?
Cliffhangers and part twos. So.
That's my second favorite part.
Yeah. Some sequels are good. Some aren't. But ours is going to be fantastic. So that's it for part one. Will they hook up? Probably. Will she get Peter at the end? Probably. Will Jack make the hockey team? Probably. Will Tig Notaro drink another cup of coffee? Most likely.
Definitely.
This is paint by numbers. It's all happening. Can't wait till we get to the airport. Let's do this. Thanks for listening back on Thursday with part 2. Meantime, follow us on Instagram. It's just this meets that. We're ITMT Pod on Twitter, and we're on YouTubes, and we're on wherever you listen. Just subscribe. Everywhere. Share with a friend. We are everywhere. We're global reach right now.
That's right, Mr. Worldwide, as they call you.
Share with a friend.
Or share with a stranger. Write us a review. Put it online on the interwebs, as Reese Witherspoon would say. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, if you're feeling old-fashioned, you can send us an email. Old-fashioned like Reese Witherspoon, I guess. But it's thismeetsthat@gmail.com. We'll read them in the trailer trash, as we always do. Or if you don't want to do any of that stuff, that's fine too. Just go to the website. I implore you, go to the website. There's T-shirts, there's mugs, mouse pads, whatever you want, merch, episodes, information about Russ's book, hosts, which you should buy. It's thismeetsthat.com. Check it out.